Today, we're going to discuss safety tips. Tips for men, women, and children to know when they go out. First and foremost, check your testosterone at the door. A lot of big guys are out there thinking that's not going to happen to me, they won't fuck with me. Why take a chance? What I've noticed, and I don't want to insult anybody, people that are from small towns in the middle of nowhere and people that live in areas where there's like absolutely no crime at all tend to know the least about safety and important things they should know. They move to a town that has crime, or they go on vacation to a town that may have crime, and they're not aware, and they are targets. Plain and simple. There are several things that you absolutely must know. For example, this is how you can find a tourist in New York. They're not looking over their shoulder. When I go outside, even if it's on my own neighborhood, every 15 feet, and you can see this all over New York State, you can see people doing this. You're checking to make sure no one's behind you. Well, obviously, there are 6 billion people on this planet. Someone's going to be behind you. You're checking to make sure that they're not following you. You're checking to make sure they're not doing anything stupid. Like maybe they're drunk, maybe they're targeting you, maybe they're looking at your nice jacket too long. You just want to make sure they're there. You also got the thing in the back of your mind, God forbid they attack me, can I defend myself against them? Well, keep your eye peeled, keep looking around, know your area, know who's behind you, who's in front of you, who's next to you. If you feel uncomfortable, move away fast. If you really feel uncomfortable, run. John Walsh from America's Most Wanted says that all the time. If you feel uncomfortable, run away. It's better to be alive than dead. When a car pulls up next to you, like you're walking and a car pulls up the street on the corner, maybe he wants to park there. Maybe he wants to drop something in the mailbox. Maybe he wants to do this, that, or the other thing. Look at the car. Let the driver know you're aware of his presence. If the driver gets out too fast, if he stares at you, if he makes you uncomfortable, walk away fast. If not, run. If someone stops and says, "Can I have directions?" Directions from 5 feet away. Yell, raise your voice. Third light, make a left. That's all. You don't need to go and stick your head in the car. You don't need to get that close to the person. This goes double for kids. But this was important. If someone wants you to drop a letter in the mailbox, say no. Let them get out and do it themselves. That's a very popular thing for pedophiles to do. They tell the kid, drop this in the mailbox, and he goes in the car. Also with kids, I lost my doggy. Oh, that bullshit. They have a little poster with the dog on it. Okay, tell them flat out, throw the poster out the window and drive away, and then I'll look at it, and then do that. Maybe the dog is lost, or maybe it's just an elaborate scheme. You always want to be aware of things like this because child predators do this, rapists do this, serial killers do this. When you go out, who do you go out with? What kind of friends do you have? Do you have friends that drink, do drugs? Do you have friends that have really big mouths, can't keep their mouth shut? They always got something nasty to say to somebody? They're always in a fight? Maybe you should get some new friends. Maybe it's not worth you hanging out with someone that's going to get the shit beat out of you. Dog the Bounty Hunter. He started out as a Texas biker. He was around the corner. His friend murdered somebody. He spent 18 months in state prison in Texas at hard labor for first-degree murder, and he was paroled, not pardoned or exonerated. To this day, Dog the Bounty Hunter is a convicted murderer in Texas. And he's lucky he didn't get the death penalty, especially down there. So if you're hanging out with some guy, he does something, you yourself could go to prison for that, even if you had nothing to do with it. It can happen to you. When you go out, where do you go? Do you go to the bar? Do you go to the club? Do you go to the mall? You must always know where you're going and what is going on there. If there's a bar or a nightclub that has a lot of fights, rapes, assaults, robberies, pickpocketing, purse snatching, maybe you shouldn't go there. Maybe you shouldn't put yourself in that situation where you're going to be harmed, where you're going to get into a fight. Try to keep yourself out of that situation if you can. If you live in a bad neighborhood, that's hard. But if you can avoid going to a bad neighborhood, if you can avoid going to an area where there's going to be a lot of crime, please do so. It's not a big deal. Got a little sniffle today, so excuse me. When you go to a location, you must know everything about that location. You're going to go to, let's say for argument's sake, Home Depot. Is there adequate lighting in the parking lot? Is there adequate security in the parking lot? Were there recent crimes in the parking lot? Kidnappings, purse snatchings, assaults, rapes, grand theft auto, carjacking, the list goes on forever. Maybe you shouldn't go there if that's the case. If that is the case, maybe you should go there in the middle of the day when it's nice and bright out and there are a lot of people around, and you should park as close to the building as possible. Ladies, have a male friend. Have a cousin, a brother, a boyfriend, a husband, or just a male friend. And tell them, if you go in Home Depot, I'll buy you a fucking tool. Have someone with you if you feel uncomfortable, or if there's a possibility that something might go wrong. People that are traveling together are less likely to be victimized than people that are traveling alone. When you go out to the clubs, this is important for young girls too, especially if you're girls between 18 and 30 years old. 4 girls go to, it could happen to guys too, but 4 girls go to the bar. They're shit-faced drunk. 3 of them say it's time to go home. 1 of them says, I want to stay and drink a little more. Pick her up and drag her the fuck home. Now. Natalie Holloway, God rest her soul, and a lot of other people, the last time they were seen alive, they were drinking or with people they never met before, and the next thing you know, they're either missing or found in a dumpster. Rapists, serial killers, people like that, they go to areas where they know there's going to be a lot of drunken people, and they look for someone that's not aware of their surroundings and is alone, and that's who they target. So when it's time to go home, it's time to go home. Live to drink another day. When you go to the mall, especially these malls that have these big parking garages, you gotta go to the mall itself. The parking garage is here, the mall is here. When you go into the mall and get out of the mall, the best thing to do is to take the elevator. The elevator opens up in a big hallway with lighting. You go directly to your location, opens up with lighting. You can be victimized in an elevator, I'm not gonna lie about that, it could happen. But you are more likely going to be victimized in the stairwell. The stairwell has cement and steel, and you have to walk at your own pace from point A to point B and back. God forbid you're attacked, you could scream as loud as you want, no one's going to hear you. Guys and girls. Best thing to do is take the elevator, that's all. When you're coming in and out of the parking lot, you get in the car and you go home. You don't fool around with your makeup. You don't pay your checks. You don't do your homework. You don't text message. You get in the car, start the engine, lock the doors, and get out. You are less likely to be victimized when you do that. Be aware of your surroundings. Let's say someone is in the parking lot, they have a handicap or an injury. You saw it in Silence of the Lambs. Wild Bill, my arm hurts, help me with this couch. Woman comes over, drags her into the van. Ted Bundy did that too. 99% of the people really are injured or handicapped. But there is that 1% that want to do evil to you. So if you're walking, especially if you're a woman, it could be a guy too.